There we are. Hello, everyone. How's it going? Welcome. Hey, we got a visitor right at the start. This Elder Stonefoot decided to say hello. How's it going, everyone? Let me actually move myself now that I'm looking at the position. Yeah, that'll be better. Welcome to Court of the Rings on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. I am LOTRO's community manager, Cordovan, and we did a release this week. Yeah, update 32. Rangers and Ruins came out this week. Includes Erebor housing. This new area I'm going to show off that all nice and pretty for you here today. We'll maybe take a little look at Erebor housing and overall just kind of kick off what should be a really nice weekend. Update 32 got released on Wednesday. It's out the door. We do have a follow-up patch set for next Wednesday that's going to take care of a few bugs. But for the most part, things are going relatively good. Reward track is probably our biggest bugaboo, but we'll talk a little bit about that in a bit. Everything's generally going okie dokie with that. And we got a long weekend in the United States. For whatever reason, Monday is President's Day. And although a lot of people have to work on President's Day, a lot of people don't. And you see a lot of retail stores do President's Day sales, especially like cars, mattresses, some of that kind of thing. And in the United States, that means some of us have a 3-day weekend right when Update 32 gets released. So pretty good timing on that one, if I do say so myself. We also do have a bit of a boost this weekend for those of you who do open up loot boxes. There's a 25% Embers and Moats boost this weekend. Just saying. I don't usually promote that one so much, but it's on the event schedule, and some people like it. If you are the type to get your loot boxes and enjoy them, then 25% more, and not much wrong with that. So, where am I right now? Let me real quick show you while I talk and do some Q&A. I want to try something a little different, rather than have a static screen. So if you can see, I am right on. I'm like a weather person. See, the storm front's coming right down. No, as you can see, right, that's where I am. And the angle of Mitheithel is basically right where my microphone is. Right. It's hard to do reverse. Right there. And so I thought what I'd do while I did just some general Q&A and chat with people today is just put on the screen, get myself in a nice leisurely trot, and just kind of wander around a little bit. Because I'm not really going to be able to steer and answer questions and all that, we may end up into a couple of trees and stuff. But we're going to give this a shot, and just to kind of see how it all goes. And before I do that, let me at least make sure I'm going in the correct geographic direction. I am not. I should turn around. Okay. Good to know. Which means I should be... Yeah, this is the path here that I want to meander down. All right, so I'm just going to put myself on auto trot. Maybe put the camera back just a little bit so that people can see the purdy. And we'll just kind of see how it goes. All right. Let me go into questions. Yeah, I could go up through the Update 32 release notes, but it feels somewhat superfluous today because, one, you could read it yourself at this point. Two, it's been getting previews on Bull Roar, so we've been already kind of showing all that. And what have you. But we do have a couple of pages to check out on the new LOTRO.com today. For example, we have got an article about the legendary items reward track. And that explains a little bit about how to use it, how it's going to work, etc., etc. I did add to it this week to clarify that you want to use your stored... we got a lot of people right now with stored item XP enhancement rune, or item XP runes, right? All those heritage runes and stuff. And you want to apply them on the reward track. Now, those heritage runes have a minimum level. So you'll have some... I ended up with a lot that were min level 130, but also some that were like as low as 45, right? So because the reward track scales to character level, that means rather than just say a raw numerical, you need 1,000 points to get to the next thing, it sort of scales it based on the level of the character applying it to. So it tends to be you get a little bit along the track by completing it, and the idea is that whether you're level 50 or someday in the future 150, you know, you'll make the same relative progress along the track as long as you're playing content and enjoying the game, have you. That's the goal anyway. One of the little quirks of that, though, is that it means that you want to open minimum level runes that you're stored up here and acquire them, you know, put them on your character when you have hit that minimum level. So, for example, you can use a level 45 minimum rune on a 130 character, but you're better off logging into your level 45 character and applying the rune there because of the relative benefit it will provide along the path. I know it's not the most clear, but it reads quick as if you're using up your stored item XP runes, open them on the lowest level character that can, and you'll get the most benefit. There you go. Yeah, that's right. The Stormfront is over in the Netherlands, and I think I read today, this morning while drinking coffee, that I think like Britain's gonna have, England has like 120, not kilometer, but mile an hour winds. So converted mile an hour, right? If that's true, that's crazy, folks. I hope you're all stay safe out there. And it sounds like, yes, the Netherlands is also getting hit. One of the biggest storms they've ever seen in that country. All right. Will we see the option for additional kin houses? Or was that scrapped? My belief is that we would very much like to offer kin houses the ability to own more than one in the future, but that is an engineering task and some tech that we're not yet in a position to bring. I mean, we're not opposed to letting you have multiple kin houses necessarily. It hasn't really worked out that way to this point. Okay, I can go either direction. So why don't I head off through this thing up here? That seems pretty cool. All right. Will the reward track UI be updated in the future? The screenshot in the article is different from the one in the game. Yes, that is on me. It is still on my to-do list to fix that. So here's how that all happened. I had to build a LI reward track article without the benefit of a final asset because there was no final asset yet. And as it turns out, excuse me, we have a little bit of work yet to do. So I don't think what you saw at the day of release here with Update 32 is what that asset's going to look like long term. I think we're going to do a little more work on the LI reward track, certainly over the months as we sort of debut new tracks and what have you. But I also think that it debuted with still a little polish yet to go. So what I did on the article is I just had that placeholder, and my intention was to just kind of quick swap it to whatever it is live before we go live so that people wouldn't run into that. But then I ended up having to publish the letter before the game worlds were open. I didn't have the asset, whatever. And so I just said, okay, well, I'll replace it later. And then the community got wind of it. It was like, we want that. Which is unfortunate because that was never meant to actually be the final UI. That it's simply a placeholder bit of UI. Oops. So, but you know, it shows more what we intend a more polished UI to look like. So I would expect to see us, you know, in the future. To have some further kind of polish done to that. And in the short term, as soon as I get time, I'm actually planning to swap out the image that's in the article with a more accurate image, regardless of whether you maybe like it better than the one we ended up with. The reality is I am going to swap it for whatever is actually in the game so that it's accurate. So that's kind of the long, sad story of that one. It's really my fault for not swapping out the placeholder image. But that image was, made by an artist, not based on what the actual UI was, but what it was at one point in time internally. So, before anyone actually started doing the work to get it out there. So that's what's up with that. Okay. We are expecting the reward track to be a kind of a quick jaunt this time around. For people who have been, storing your heritage runes and all that since Gundabad got released, right? So because of that, we would expect that people are going to be progressing pretty quickly along this reward track, perhaps more so than they might normally otherwise. And I guess we'll just kind of have to see, what the final pace ends up needing to be, and we can always tweak it and what have you over time. I'm actually going to, just for visual purposes here, shorten my camera a bit. There we go. Now I'm a little less big in the frame, and you can see more of the landscape. All right. Who is a streamer? Is this a dev? Kind of. My name is Cordovan, and I am the community manager. So I don't do actual game development, but I do work for Standing Stone Games on the Lord of the Rings Online. Excuse me. All right. So in shorthand, I call everyone devs who works in the games industry too, and I think so do most devs. So yes, I'm a dev, even though technically I have no skills whatsoever to develop a video game. I can hopefully make it sound good. You're a quarter of the way through the reward track in 2 days of light playing without using your stored runes. Well, like I say, we will ultimately base the progress along the track in the future. I would imagine, we're refreshing the track approximately, every 3 months or so, kind of something like that. And this first one was debuted knowing we'd probably have to kind of tweak the acquisition rate once we got into a more stable position with the system and what have you. So I would expect to see us do that, at some point here in the future. But for now, it's sort of what we have. And I agree the progress might be a little too swift, but we'll see. I mean, not that I don't like people like getting free stuff quickly, but at the same point, we don't want to have a seasonal reward track, which is basically takes a couple of weeks, and then you've got a couple months sitting there without anything. So, we'll see. What is wise to do with the runes you get now? Use it or keep them? I would prefer that other people provide that information. I don't think that the community manager for the game should probably be the one to tell you what to do there. I would let the people who don't mind getting a little number crunchy and everything tell you the best optimal way to do it. I myself am using them up. I've got a level 60 something alt that I've got. So on those level 45 runes, I'm just logging into the lower level character. And otherwise, I'm just not worrying about it too much. Because like you said, progress along the reward track seems to be pretty quick. So I guess that does lead me to say that if you haven't used any of your runes yet, and you're already, let's say, after 2 days of playing, a quarter of the way through the track, like the one person in Twitch chat said, then maybe that is a reason to kind of hang on to them until you want to get a little bumped or whatever. It's kind of your inventory space, I suppose. You know, kind of depends what you want to do there. Can a level 45 without LIs apply IXP runes? Gosh, I don't know. My belief would be yes, but maybe you shouldn't, huh? But I think you can, right? As long as you got them. And then you hit the minimum level. I think it would dump into the reward track. Well, hopefully I'm not doing that. I apologize, niece of Lorelin. I'm trying not to. I hopefully I'm treating you with respect. I apologize if something I said came out rude. That was not my intention. Okay. Now, let me pop on over to YouTube. Will there be a new Secret Stone quest this year? No. I think the intention on that was to be a three-peat, right? So about the third time you've hit it. So I wouldn't expect to see a new one there. Bruce Lee shirt. This is a t-shirt that's got the a screen print of the French movie poster for Game of Death. That's what the t-shirt is. It is a version of the French movie poster for Game of Death. The Jeu de la Mort, or however you say it. Alright, so we're getting pretty far along our little trek here. I think we're going to hang a right, go to this village, and then let's probably just kind of wander across. Maybe something like that to over here is probably what we'll end up doing on our little journey through the area here today. I actually think it's kind of turning out good. Hopefully it's not driving people nuts to see the background move, but I kind of like to see this. This is actually kind of looking better than me just doing a static ringy spin while I do Q&A and all that sort of thing. So I'm kind of liking it. Kind of liking it. Let me know what you think. Alright. Yeah, you swap between walk and run with the insert key. I know that because I actually push it by accident sometimes, because I fat finger things. Big fan from Costa Rica. I would love to go to Costa Rica. I've got, from pre-COVID, I picked up a credit card because I needed to, that gave me a whole bunch of airline miles. Through Frontier Airlines, and which is a U.S.-based thing, I think out of Colorado or something like that. But whatever, I got a whole, excuse me, I got enough miles for a couple of domestic flights for free, or like one international flight. And but they don't wherever they fly, which is fairly limited, especially out of Boston. Blah 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 blah. But Costa Rica's on that list, and it has occurred to me that just spending a week. And, like, let's just say March or something like that in Costa Rica. Not like I got the money for it, though. But at least the flight would be free. Sounds like a pretty darn good time. So I may actually end up in your neck of the woods here someday because of that. Sorry, I can't really answer that. Someone is saying, asking a question about the conflict happening right now in Russia and Ukraine and what impact that might have on SSG. I can't really speak to that other than, gosh, I hope everything works out okay for everybody. And my heart aches and goes out to everyone suffering right now in those areas. Okay. I will do my best here. Ektholdrahan asks, as a community manager, can I please offer a qualified, articulate explanation of where SSG currently stands in regards to lag, and further, SSG's proposed schedule? The schedule is going to get pretty not specific, because a lot of that work is, well, it depends. You know, Depends how quickly we find results. Depends how quickly those results take to implement. Depends how quickly the implementation proves successful. You know, no iteration or QA work. Depends on our release schedule, etc. So often, when it comes to lag, you know, we're not going to hang on to a lag fix for a quarter just so that it can get out in the next release or something like that. This stuff is going out hot off the press, but not so hot that we don't trust it. You know what I mean? Because this is generally pretty big stuff we're messing with. So I would expect to see work done in the next few months on lag and game performance and what have you. Some of the things we have been looking at, you've seen in release notes, and we've actually focused quite a bit in the last couple of months on making sure our hardware, virtual hardware, you know, you do a lot of virtualization in modern MMOs, things like that, is all optimized, and changes have been made to further optimize it. A lot of the technical terms are frankly beyond me. You know, you see a lot of kind of technical network jargon that tends to be floating around. But we do have people who know that stuff, and they're actually doing the work, and things have been done. Some of the things we're working on most recently is how to... We basically have taken the game, one of our engineers has sort of taken the game, and to the best it can be done, you know, these numbers are not exact or anything, but to the best possible, has sort of separated out how much of performance is associated with various parts of the game. Like, for example, server messaging versus trace routes, I guess, versus some other things, right? And so we've taken some of the areas which are the heaviest in that process, and we've been working to refine them, and we've made progress. I think we have seen some results from that progress. We also identified an issue with bandwidth, which sadly on the LOTRO side, which I've gone into fairly long explanations out in recent weeks, but we had done some work to lift a bandwidth cap, kind of an archaic bandwidth cap that was in place, really related to old DSL-style modem speeds. Most of the time, the game never got to that bandwidth cap, so it never really mattered that there was a bandwidth cap in place because we were always using quite a bit less than it could use to begin with. However, that belief dated back, let's just say, 5-7 years. And so when we took another look at it, when someone took a fresh set of eyes on it, I guess I should say, they were like, you know what? There's some pieces like in raids and other things where they're running into that cap. So let's lift it. And so we did. And unfortunately, on the LOTRO side, it hasn't seen as much of a visible result as it has on the other game side, where it actually has made a pretty big difference in some UI element loading, for example, and things like that. However, it's still progress because it's still an improvement. It may not be much of a visible improvement, but definitely behind the scenes, I mean, it's a big improvement, right? Things that what were being stuck ain't stuck no more. So there you know, that's good. That's got to be good, right? So those are some of the things. I know that in the future we're working on, I've heard them talking about some of the communication related to the quest system. You know, how often does it query the quest? What's it querying? Does it need to query all that stuff? You know, a whole bunch of kind of technical questions like that we're working on. I've heard that we've got some performance improvements related to the allegiance system that we're kind of targeting and taking a look at. So I know that there's quite a bit happening, both short-term and long-term, and hopefully, and we're also, you know, we are still working on a 64-bit client. That should hopefully make a difference as well. And some other pieces too that I guess I just can't think of off the top of my head. That sounds like a pretty lengthy answer to your question. So I think I will move on, unless you've got something. any talk of updating avatar visuals again? Will is specifically asking about whether we could make them more like the Peter Jackson movies, to which I would reply, probably not. That is not typically something that we would be likely to do. However, we might have some big news in regard to... We've got... Not big news. Well, let me not quantify it. We do, I believe, have some upcoming Avatar work, but I can't really say too much more about it. I don't want to tease it too much, and I don't want to get people expectations up too much. But yes, we do have some people working on some Avatar stuff, and hopefully, or at least it's on the calendar to be worked on, and hopefully we'll have something to say this year. Ekthol Drahan also wants to know about where we stand in regards to our submitted tickets. There has been significant progress made on that backlog. So just for example, I go into the same ticketing system that customer service uses. A lot of times people think I'm kind of customer service because I am often the conduit by which, I'm passing along ticket numbers and things from social media. But I myself do not actually work for customer service. However, I do have access to the customer service tool for a specific reason, and that is when people send a ticket through the system to community/forum support, it ends up in my queue. And I often, I go in there pretty much about every day, maybe 4 times a week. I go through that system and just often reassign tickets, because there's a lot of stuff that gets misassigned when people are submitting into community support. They submit bug reports or account support related questions, and all, hey, that's okay. You're doing your best, right? And I can reroute it. It's fine. But I see that ticket queue, and I know how many tickets are coming in, and I know how many tickets are going out, getting resolved. And I can tell you that since, let's just say, Christmas, the number of support tickets has dramatically gone down, while the number of tickets submitted is actually going up. So progress is being made. I know progress is being made, but I also know that we have some players out there who are pretty frustrated at the pace of getting help with their issue. So I don't want to be too... I want to be careful not to kind of over say too much there, because I know that we still have a ton of work to do. But I do see. I mean, it's like I don't want to get into numbers, but let's just say I see the ticket going... Let's just say I've seen the number of, say, tickets in the backlog get cut down by 80%, at least 80%, since Christmas. So I know that we're making a lot of progress. I just know that we also have a lot to do, and the ticket count's going up, not down. So that remains a big challenge for customer support. We did do some hiring. Oh, put a pin in that one too. I've got some pretty cool things to say there too. They've been trained up, they're cracking down on it, and they're working their butts off. That much I can tell you. So I know progress is being made, and I know that there's still a lot yet to do. All right. The bandwidth cap has made a change to loading times on homes. They load faster now. Now, see, that would be the kind of thing I would expect to have seen as a result of that work. On the DDO side, for example, like their banks used to be pretty sluggish, and now it's super speedy. All right, let me head over to Facebook. Also, hello, everyone on Facebook. How you doing? Hello from Germany. Hope Germany's doing all right today. Was it... Okay, who did I see from Germany in the Winter Olympics just this past week that was awesome? Gosh. Was it the bobsledding team? Something like that, where the Germans just totally swept gold and silver in the Winter Olympics, and it was awesome. So congrats, Germany, on having, I think, an awesome bobsled team. It was pretty sweet to watch, that's for sure. All right, anyway, what is that between me and Stamp? I don't know. Sorry, I missed the chance of that. Oh, it's probably that weird. If it was towards the start, I had a boar that decided to pay a visit all of a sudden. All right, what has been done to finesse? Had lots of problems with resists in HORT5 last night. I don't know. I hadn't heard of anything. I can ask, I guess it would probably be Vastin about that. Oh, my microphone! Sorry, yes, my microphone on a green screen. Ideally, I should probably have the microphone on this side, but that means I have to put it kind of where I walk in and out of the computer, and so I've got it on the wrong side. Or I suppose I could, for my own benefit, I could be over here, so it looks more like the microphone is off screen, but then my chat window's not up. So what do you do? Although I guess when I've got it like this, it doesn't matter. But when I got it like that, all of a sudden people are going to be able to potentially say inappropriate things in world chat, and you would read it, which is why I have to cover myself up. All right. So, you know I gave a long explanation about the IXP runes and that, but there's also a part of me who, when I logged in, after 32 release, was just like, does it really even matter, though? I don't know. Because, like people were saying, the progress along the reward track has been pretty steady so far, so I don't know. But I also know that we have a lot of min-maxers out there who deeply care about this kind of thing, and that's why I wanted to make sure that I got that info out about the IXP runes. Please do bug any hook types that have not had their new mobile yard hook type, or turned into a new mobile yard hook type. Just bug it, please, through help.standingstonegames.com. That would be helpful. Thank you. Yeah, you kind of wish it wasn't nighttime. I have to admit, there was a part of me that was like, well, maybe I should do this on an admin client where I could control and be on my admin, but that's just too much to set up, really all said and done, so I just rolled with it and was like, well, fine. It'll just be a nighttime stroll this time. Okay. Angmar's a rendering problem. You're getting a black screen and foes attack. That's bad. I wonder if that might be a... Get away from the cliff here. Yeah, I actually do want to go. Alright, let's just do it. Yeah! I'm fine. I'm fine. There we go. Nope, wrong way. This way. Okay. There we are. Okay. Back to YouTube. That is a great mic, by the way, Cord. Thank you so much. It's a pretty standard consumer one. I used to be in radio, and I've been in bands and what have you. And this is not that there aren't a million great mics, especially nowadays, but this one is kind of an old workhorse. It's a Audio-Technica AT2020 USB. cost you somewhere between 100 150 bucks, depending on where you get it. But it's plug and play and pretty easy to use, and it's a pretty good, like, I sometimes get asked, well, what mic should I get for streaming, podcasting, what have you? There are some plenty good options, and, you know, read up on whether a cardioid or condenser works better for you. In my case, I've got a nice cardioid here, and that's that. I often say AT2020 or USB if you want to go USB on it. It's a good kind of a standard one mic. You just need a decent mic in your house. And it also doubles as a mace. You're right. It does. You totally do some damage with this thing. Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say to that person having the Angmar issue as well that you may need to revalidate LOTRO for corrupt texture files. Now, it could just be a game bug, too. So it may have nothing to do with anything you can control. I would need to know a location on that, which hopefully, you know, you could provide in a bug report or something. But could be also a corrupted data issue, so it might not hurt to try repairing your game client if you don't mind re-downloading, essentially. Everyone gets the black screen in certain places in West Angmar. Okay, so then probably what that is, I actually don't know that this is true on the Lord of the Rings side, but I've been around long enough on the other game side that if you are right between two land blocks, now land blocks being not actual land structures in the game, but virtual squares upon which terrain and everything is built upon, our game engine camera can sometimes have that kind of black screen issue. And there are things you can do about it that I don't actually know the technical explanation of. I guess I would call it overlapping, but what the heck do I know? Either way, it could be that there's a spot in there that needs to get some manual labor associated with it. So, like I said, if you run into it, fill in a loc. We'll see what we can do there. Alright, we're heading into a city here. They definitely mess with finesse and will classes. However, what we saw is when the abilities said resist, they were actually applying anyway. Well, that sounds like a bug. That sounds like a bug. Tanless, I don't have anything specific I can say today related to, say, UI work, for example. What do I got? I'm trying to see where I need to go. I'm going to have to go around. So I think I'm going to take a little bit of a faster trot, shall we say, through this area here. And let's... Oops. Yeah, there we go. We'll go up this way. We have got a World Builder chat with Scenario. That's next Wednesday, is it not? Off the top of my head, I think. I think the next casual stroll with Scenario is next Wednesday. So, that'll be at 2 p.m. Eastern on Twitch here. I could mention, I could actually put up the job board here in a little bit, but I did want to call out that we this week went on kind of a hiring blitz. If you go to daybreakgames.com/careers, and then look for the jobs in Needham, Massachusetts. That be us. And we have got, well, let me actually do this correct. Do just what I said. Tell you all about our new hot jobs. Because we got some. Get this up on the web page here in a little bit, but I want to. How cool is this, though? Huh? Isn't this gorgeous? I think I'm just going to kind of hang here for a second. We'll get some very pretty looking scenery here to chew. Yeah, that's not bad. We'll go with this. All right. Where do we go? So I say this, the reason I am doing this is because we don't just have senior positions, which a lot of times we do. We're a pretty veteran studio. But you can see this time around we have a couple of associate positions. So associate positions, you do have to have the skills, right? You have to be able to code. You have to be able to know systems design. You have to know what you're doing, right? This isn't a train on the job kind of position. However, this is the kind of position that would be very applicable to someone who is just graduating from game design school, or who went to a game design program through their college or university, or who has been making games on their own, for a few years or what have you, right? So if you've got the skills, these positions do not require a lot of game industry experience. They require the skills. So if you got the skills, this could very well be the opportunity for you to get your foot in the door. And so that's why I want to make sure, because I know we get a lot of smart LOTRO players out there, including some people like myself, back in 2009-10, who are desperate to get into the games industry and would be pickled just like me, tickled pink, to get that opportunity. So, senior game engineer, that is an engineering position, highly technical position. You gotta be real good to do that one. But if you are a software engineer, this is a position for you. Especially if you've been doing it for a decade or so. Lead systems designer, pretty much gotta have been a systems designer in video games at some point. But we'll see. None of this is actually. Just read the description. I'm not a lawyer. Lead content designer. So systems would be like LIs, world events, items, what have you. Content is quests, raids, landscape. But we have the world building team that does that, which tends to get its own position. I believe this is like instances, things like that. Associate designer and a temporary associate designer. This one's work from home too. I think they're all basically work from home, but we do have certain limitations. So, yeah. Oh, and now I screwed it up. Can't go back. How do I go back? The XSplit. Back to job list. There we go. All right. And product manager at SSG. So product manager is someone who's going to be working with me and some other folks. This is not a marketing position per se, but it's marketing related. This is a shared service. You'll be working on both games, I believe. And this is basically managing the product. So, in many ways similar to you need to know BI, You need to know kind of executive relationships, how to navigate that sort of thing. You're working with licensors and all sorts of things, tracking all sorts of KPIs and what have you. So it's a pretty good job as well, and a good paying one too, I think. So go and take a look if you're into that. But I did want to bring it up, especially on this stream, because of these associate positions here. Those are pretty hot news. So good luck. Good luck to all applicants. I hope it's you. All right. Ed asked about further work on legendary items. We are going to see further work on legendary items in the coming weeks and months. So yeah, we've got a bunch of loose ends, as you describe it, with allies to take care of here that we'll do. So, would it ever be possible for the VIP quest given by Wenda, Cranesbill, and Bree to be extended so you renew the subscriber town services per week rather than every 2 days? Yes. That is something we have been investigating. And I think we're going to see something in that regard in the future. Probably this year. I think we're going to be able to do that. But we had to do some work before. We had to make sure it was, I guess you could call it, safe to expand it in that way. But I would expect, I don't know if it's going to be a week. I don't know what it's going to be. But yes, I think we're going to extend it to something a little bit better here. Wanted to compliment us on having enough housing instances available for the Erebor housing. You had no problems getting the houses you wanted without delay or drama. Well, thank you. Yes, it's been hot. We have to keep an eye on how things are going, and I regret to inform you we have some TBDs over on Landreval here, because they were pulling names too deep in the list, of which there were no names yet. So that's how hot it was on Landreval, at least. But that's something we're fixing next Wednesday in that patch I was talking about. A couple little minor things. It's fine to buy a house, even if it doesn't have a name in your neighborhood yet. As soon as you get the name, it'll just be that name, so it's fine. Let's see. Yeah, I think I mentioned this last week, but I guess I could say it again. I don't know crap about the Saul's Ants thing. And if I did, I doubt I could tell you anything. But I don't know anything, so there's nothing to tell you. Alright, what are we going to do to kind of wrap up the final 10 minutes of the show here? Maybe I'll take a little tour of, I don't know. I'll just keep wandering around. Maybe I should just theme this show, and then next week I can focus on housing. Maybe that's what I'll do. Next week's show, I'll just kind of bum around and work on housing. However, let me actually point out, though, next Thursday, noon Eastern, the raid opens up. So that's going to be pretty hot. I really would. I'm not raid ready. I'm not raid geared. I ain't running T5 nothing unless you don't mind me just dying at the start and getting carried. But I want to do the new raid on stream. And that would be very cool. So maybe I can coordinate that at some point here in the coming weeks if maybe you're a kin that isn't going to be rude on chat, or rude to me on chat, or rude in general, or don't mind having your tactics on display and all the other kind of stuff associated with putting your raid on stream. If you're like, yeah, I could carry Cordo through a raid, then get in touch. maybe we can make that happen. That would be pretty sweet, wouldn't it? You know, I know that we get some criticism from folks for not always having a lot of rating on LOTRO stream. And I tend to agree that we don't have a lot of rating on LOTRO stream. And we do have some, though. But it's something I want to do more of. I actually was talking to someone on Discord who expressed some interest in their rating Kinship, getting a slot on LOTRO stream. That happened, I guess, a couple of weeks ago, and I haven't really heard anything back or followed up either. I need to see where we are on that. Sorry if that's you. But we might get something. But I would like to show off the raid in the same way that I'm going to kind of slowly go through the, well, today, the Angle of Mitheithel. And I guess next week, Erebor Housing. Up next, I know we've got the Tolkien Professor, and I saw the Tolkien Professor on a big old interview on IGN today. IGN getting asked about the Amazon thing. Or Tolkien Professor getting asked about the Amazon thing. I bet he knows more than I do. Just say it. I bet he does. Let's see. So bother him. I bet he'd love it. Yeah. Voice actors reading the text in the quest boxes. We tend to do a shorthand version of that, as you probably see. We tend to do a shorthand version. And I think that that is often simply about kind of word count and budget and what have you. But the idea of doing more VO dialogue is, yeah, we'd love to do as much as we can, is basically what we do. We figure out how much we can do and then we do it. So. I see a job for a community manager stream ends. That's funny. Hopefully that never happens. I ended up getting kind of weird. Am I? Okay. Back on the road would be nice. What did I do with one? There we go. There we are. Okay. I think we're pretty well actually covered in chat here. I can't think of anything that I haven't covered. Spring Festival starts real soon. My hope is to have some info on the new website for that, but I haven't even had a chance to start it yet. We'll see. I know that we got you know, a couple of new things for the seasonal rewards and what have you. So some good stuff to talk about there. And, you know, we're not too far off. We're already hard at work, not just on the patches for Update 32, but what we're working on after that even. A lot of meetings happening. And our 15th anniversary is going to be kind of a big deal as well, we think. And that should be... well, that's in April, so that's not that far away. We've got actually quite a bit in the works. So hope you're having a great time here with Update 32. Hope you don't have any problems or issues and you just have a great gaming experience this weekend. And I think I kind of want to, while I'm just kind of wandering out these last couple of minutes, I want to go just pop on over to Erebor Housing, I think, to show last screen of the day. Let's see if I can remember how to get to Free from. Wow, I haven't. It's really windy out here today. It's banging around in my yard. Keepers. Can I dazzle the guys at work with a bit of trivia? I don't know. Can I? Oh, cool. No, and then here's the dazzle. There's a mountain in British Columbia. This is from a Chris over on YouTube. There's a mountain in British Columbia, Canada called Tolkien Peak, named for J.R.R. Tolkien. The nearby mountains are also named Mount Aragorn, Mount Gandalf, and Mount Shadowfax. They were named so in 1972 by those making the first ascents of the mountains, who read the books whilst waiting out stormy weather. That is awesome! That's sweet. I didn't know that. Alright, well, I'm pretty much out of time here, so why don't we just, let's just wrap it up on the last bridge and call it issue. Alright. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Hope you have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.